Hello, fellow archivists. I spent a lot of time talking about video games, but a few months back I had a thought. What kind of reviewer am I if I've never actually made one? So today, I am stepping out of the archives and writing my own entry. I'm making a video game. Quick background, I haven't made a game since high school, back in the Flash era, and honestly, I didn't learn much in that class. This time, I picked up GameMaker. It felt like a good starting point, even while everyone else was boarding the Godot train, and most game dev YouTubers tell you, start small, make a tiny mechanic, clone Pong, learn the basics. And they are right. That is absolutely the smart way to learn. But, my fellow archivists, I am not being smart. I am being ambitiously dumb. Instead of a tiny prototype, I decided to try making a full game and get it working on Steam. I want to trip over every hurdle and make a bunch of mistakes, and actually learn from doing the whole thing. So what am I making? I wanted something small enough that I could realistically finish, but still interesting. Nothing that needed insane art skills, but more than move a square around on a screen. Originally, I landed on a classic bubble shooter. Simple cannon at the bottom, colored balls at the top. My early art assets were literally just colored emojis. It worked, but I wasn't satisfied. It felt too safe, too basic for the challenge I wanted. So I went back to the notebook, started sketching drones and ships. I thought about arcade classics, shoot 'em ups, shmups, and I asked myself, what if the bubbles fought back? Enter Drone Breaker, name pending. Here's the basic loop. You're a cannon ship fighting a giant mothership. Phase 1 is a puzzle phase. You shoot drones in a cluster, match colors, and clear them like a bubble shooter. The twist is, the mothership isn't just chilling in the background. It has mechanics to mess with you while you're playing. Once you clear the drones, the mothership flies up and the game shifts into a full-on shmup. Bullet hell, enemy waves, dodging patterns, and you try to finish the boss off with a big final blast. The idea is to have multiple levels, fighting a mothership that gets harder and harder, and a final showdown where you blow it up in spectacular fashion. I had mentioned this is a bullet hell, but I will admit I'm trying to keep it more of a classic, relaxing kind of game rather than like a challenge. I have also set a rule for myself in this project. Everything has to be made by me. Every line of code, every pixel, every sound. Now the big question, am I using AI? Yes, but only as an assistant. I use ChatGPT like a rubber duck. If I don't understand something in the GameMaker manual or on the forums, I'll ask it to explain the concept. If I have some really tedious code, like the same block repeated for a dozen different object names, I'll feed it my code and the object list and have it spit out a version with the name swapped. But I'm not telling it, quote unquote, make a game. The logic and design have to come from me. It's a tool, not the game dev. And as for the art, yeah, we're in beginner pixel artist territory. You can see some pillow shading on these early drones, while the player ship looks a little bit cleaner. I'm still finding my style that feels consistent, and I have a lot to learn. Music isn't in yet, UI needs work, there's a long list of still to do. Right now, I'm almost at the point where I can put together a little alpha demo for friends and get the most important answer. Is this fun? Does it spark joy? Or does it feel like homework with extra lasers? The project isn't about getting rich or famous. The goal is to finish a game. To be able to say, I made a game, and mean it, even if it quietly sinks into the Steam abyss. If it somehow just breaks even on Steam fee, I'll be thrilled. But honestly, I'll be happy just knowing I actually shipped something. If you're interested in watching a novice stumble through game development and hopefully get a little better along the way, let me know. Comments and likes are extra fuel to keep the fire under my butt so I don't stall out on this. And if you've got advice on the shmup design or how to fix my awful shading, please drop it in the comments. And thanks for making it to the end, fellow archivists, and I hope to see you in the next update.